were so many cops there.
Yes.
And those cops did nothing to deter what we saw. My God. First quote. These penalties are costing people games and jobs. I'm pissed about it. Said Mike Tomlin, who was upset after the Steelers-Falcon game featured 14 penalties total, including a controversial roughing the passer call on Steelers linebacker T.J. Watt. Let's hear what Tomlin had to say.
Those look like legitimate calls. We got to be better there, but some of the other stuff, man, is a joke. We got to get better as a National Football League. Man, these penalties are costing people games and jobs. We got to get them correct. And so I'm pissed about it, to be quite honest with you. But that's all I'm going to say on it.
Well, Bo, is Tomlin overreacting here?
I don't think he's overreacting, but I do believe, though, we've now reached a point on this of inconsistency, right? Like, the worst call I saw the weekend on roughing was the one against Michael Bennett against Kirk Cousins in the Vikings-Eagles game.
Agree.
That had a significant impact on what the outcome of that game happened to be. But, man, Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott were out there getting pounded, and I didn't see flag the first, right? Whatever they do, it just needs to be something that people can understand. Once people can understand it, they can act accordingly. I still think we're at a point now where people don't really know what is or is not a foul, and that's the biggest issue.
They do not know, but here's the problem for the Mike Tomlins of the world. The NFL doesn't really have an incentive to truly get consistent because the big win for them in conversations like this, and a big name like Mike Tomlin talking about this, is that the criticism is the NFL wants to make the game too safe. And that is a wild turnaround from what the NFL's previous criticisms have been. And so if you're the NFL and ratings are going up and that's the thing people are mad at you for, that's something you kind of quietly take to the bank.
Name one person that you've heard say the problem is the NFL is making the game too safe.
Well, it's the wussification of quarterback.
Right, but they're not. The problem is not making the game too safe. It's fundamentally altering the game, and nobody knows what the penalties are. That's a little different. All right, next quote. Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned for sure. Said Eagles tight end Zach Ertz after they lost to the Vikings, dropping to 2-3 on the season. Pablo, is it still too early to be worried about the Eagles?
It's too early because, A, the Eagles play in the NFC East, and the NFC East is, terrible. But beyond that, we talk about the Browns being so close to, 4-1, 5-0. The Eagles, in these first 5 games, their point differential total is -1. And all of those games that they lost went to the last possession of the last quarter. And so, I think this is one of those early season storylines as opposed to a long-term one.
Hold on, though. What was the hallmark of this team last year? Like, what was this built on?
Offense.
Explosive offense. What do they not have this year?
Correct.
Okay. And the idea was that it was built around Carson Wentz. We're now dealing with Carson Wentz on a rehabilitated wheel. They had a stretch of Nick Foles being better than Nick Foles ever dreamed Nick Foles could be. We know that's not going to happen again. So their offense is cause for worry. They might be able to win that mediocre division that they are in, but if the goal is to win a Super Bowl, hell yeah, they got reason to worry.
Yes, but the good news if you're the Eagles, right? Wentz is in fact healthy. Wentz had a real good game despite the outcome. And Alshon Jeffrey is back. So the fact is, they have guys that are underperforming, right? 24 points was the hallmark, right? They did that so often, I believe 14 times last year, whatever it was. This year, they've done it 0 times. Totally right about that. But this just feels like an undervalued stock right now because the talent still remains.
They just played against a team that has been getting lit up like a Christmas tree, right? That Vikings defense has not been good. They look like they looked all year against what has been a bad defense. You worry.
Last quote. I told him to come back to the back. You can handle that off of the court. Said Marcus Smart about his preseason scuffle with J.R. Smith on Saturday. Let's first watch what happened. Aaron Baines, muscling.
Wow, were him and Kelly Olynyk on the team at the same time? Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Not very long on technique.
No, but coming in from the perimeter right into the middle of the tray. And there's Jason Tatum doing the thing you probably don't want your franchise to do. As they both call to each other from across the way. We have Smart after the game explaining how he really felt.
Gestures were going off for the first time.
Yeah, to J.R. Smith to meet me in the back. Ain't no punk right here. Man, oh, my mama may she rest in peace. That dead. So, whatever happened, happened. JR know where I'm at. Everybody know where I'm at.
Go away by the bus.
Bo, which side of the scrap would you have your money on?
Okay, so one thing about the NBA that requires some delineation is who's tough and who just got a bunch of tattoos. Now, I don't know most of these dudes well enough to give you great answers to this, but I did notice in that particular scrap, the dude that wanted it more was obviously Marcus Smart. He's younger and a bit more hot-headed in that way. The most important variable in a fight is...
Who wants to win the fight?
Want to. That's right. If Marcus Smart had all the want to, I'd go in the direction of want to.
Yeah, Marcus Smart, I think, is the guy I put my money on, not just because he cited the tattoo in honor of a dead relative, his mom, but also because the dude can, in fact, be one of these Mission Impossible worthy stuntmen, because he's a flopper. All of that is true. And also be a guy who really wants to fight someone. Don't get those two things confused as mutually exclusive.
You think he'd be like flopping in a fight because you called him a stunt man? I'm trying to figure out what that got to do with the fight.
Well, I think people think that maybe sometimes he exaggerates.
That is perhaps. I don't know how that's going to help him in the fight.
I'm sorry, Marcus, for calling you that. I really did not mean to say that.
What do you mean it's not working out?